I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
Yo, guys, what is up? Moxsy here in our Borderlands 3 video, and today we are showing you guys my newest MOZE build. It's actually absurd. It's one of my most complex builds that I've made. It's really awesome, so much fun to use. It takes the best parts of HOZE MOZE and ZANE and puts it into one build. The DPS on this thing is ridiculous. It does mobbing, bossing, everything. It does it a little bit better than HOZE MOZE, but with less survivability. This build is an absolute walking destruction machine, and there's a few different ways to play this build that I'm going to be talking about. If this isn't a set it and forget it build, there are some things that I swap out for different scenarios, but just small build differences that you guys can adjust to whether you want to play a either unkillable version of this build where you literally cannot die and not using a level 1 shield, or you could go a less tanky way and a stupid amount of damage. Totally up to you guys. We're gonna flash the skill tree and the guns right now. That is the skill tree and the guns and gear, but I really do encourage you guys to stick around for the rest of the video and allow me to break down what's happening here. I really don't want you guys going out there and dying over and over and not knowing what's wrong, and it's because you didn't watch the explanation. So you don't have to stick around for it, but I recommend you do. So this is live wire MOZE. Basically, the core mechanic here that's happening is we are using a level 1 rerouter shield with amp damage, and we're combining that with a bloodletter class mod. Now, if you didn't know what a bloodletter class mod does, if MOZE would be healed, she gains shield instead. If she would regenerate health, she also gains shield regeneration. Now, something really cool here that's happening is my shield capacity is 105, right? Shield capacity is 105. I have health regen here on this class mod for 149 health per second. That turns into shield per second. So every second, I'm regenning my health rerouter to full all the time. So what this does is it makes every single shot that we shoot amped. Every single shot that we shoot on this build is amped for 120% increased damage. Every single shot. Now, the goal of this build was to make MOZE be ZANE, but do crazy MOZE things. That is exactly what we've accomplished here. So, if you don't know what a redistributor is, it's a SMG that drops from the Melon takedown. You can get the redistributor on any Mayhem level, but it is dropped from the takedown. Redistributors have a weird interaction with ZANE with ZANE's barrier, that whenever you shoot the redistributor through ZANE's barrier, the shot gets amped, and every time that this gun's shot is amped, it chains. we are using that with a level 1 rerouter so that our redistributor chains every single shot that we shoot. We are using that with the bonus incendiary anointment to basically melt everything in the game. Every single shot is chaining, and we're using our skill tree to make this even crazier. Now, there are some few things going on with this, and honestly, this build works with any weapon. For bossing, for mobbing, you can use anything. Picture any gun you want, any Moze setup you want is basically just going to have 120% increased damage for every shot. Now this works better with single shot weapons. If you didn't know how the rerouter and amp damage in this game works, at the moment amp shields like the rerouter do not work as well for multi-pellet weapons. This shield, one-shotter shield does, but we'll talk about that later. But it's better off for single-shot weapons like a Cutsman, like a Redistributor, like a Kibsworth. Slap anything on here and it gets crazy. Now, the reason I said that you can set this up differently is because no matter what we do, our shield is always going to be regenerating instantly. Doesn't matter. If you are familiar with Moze and how our bloodletter works, that means that we don't have a lot of health regen now. And it can be difficult to stay alive because our grenade that we throw is now only healing our shield. So the way that we get health regen and stay alive is through health regen on our relic and on our class mod. Now, some few things that you note that this makes this pretty gear specific is it's great to have health regen on your bloodletter, and it's great to have health regen on your artifact. When I have both of these, when I play cautiously, you're not running Chain Zane here, you're not running Ricochet Witch, you have to play a little bit more cautiously. I don't have an issue staying alive. You also note that you cannot have Thin Red Line on your bloodletter or it will kill your health regen. So bloodletter with health regen is great, and you don't want Thin Red Line on it because it will kill your health regen will not work on it. There's like I said, there's a lot of things happening here. It's complicated. I'm gonna try to break down everything for you guys here, but rerouter chains infinitely. Our healing is from our health regen here and our last stand, so that whenever our health drops below a certain percent, we are immune. Our shield is regenerating every second, so every time we take damage, our shield's back up, take damage, shield back up. So the survivability isn't bad with this build, but you do have to play a little bit more careful than some of my other builds. If you want to play an unkillable build, if you want to never die and do similar damage but not quite as good, you can use something. You don't actually have to use a rerouter here, but if you use, for example, a transformer, right? A transformer shield is great on any, pretty much any build, but if you're gonna go the unkillable route, go for a Deathless Relic. So what the Deathless Relic is gonna do is give us a crazy, crazy, crazy shield. So we have 21,000 shield, right? Now, any healing that would normally heal us is going to go to our shield. You can pair the Lifesteal Anointment on any weapon that you have. I have a Redistributor here, but any Lifesteal Cutsman, Lifesteal Rocket Launcher, Lifesteal Pistol, anytime you shoot that weapon will actually heal your shields for a percentage. And if you're using weapons with high fire rate, high DPS, such as the Redistributor, such as many other weapons, right now we're not showing it because there's nothing to shoot at, nothing to lifesteal off of, but you can basically become unkillable. I like using a level 50 health rerouter. With this, I can hop in my Iron Bear, proc my on-action skill and anointments, hop out, have my lifesteal, and I can keep up my shield with my cloning matting trackers. That is the grenade of choice here. There is one other grenade that I like to use, but we're using the rerouter with a redistributor if you'd like, and every single shot, as long as your shield is full, is going to be chaining. All of that chain damage is going to regen your shield, making this one of the tankiest Moze builds, but you lose a little bit of damage doing that because you're using a lifesteal anoint. You're not actually gaining any damage on your anoint. So that's what I was saying, is you could play this as a tanky character, or go more DPS but little less tanky, or a decently amount less tanky. That's what I wanted to express for you guys before we get into anything else. But either rerouter with a Deathless Relic. Deathless will boost your shield by 100% but drop your health, or going a level 1 rerouter and a relic that I prefer, Last Stand, and having health on it is great. Obviously, Rocket Boots is not my preferred suffix on this. I don't have a Last Stand with something else. But if I did, I'd probably be using a Last Stand Victory Rush. Now you may be saying, why not use a Last Stand Auto Idol? The Auto Idol will heal our shield, and our shield actually doesn't need any. Our shield is constantly up, so Auto Idol doesn't help. The best thing that you get is health regen. So some cool tricks and playing with this build. One other thing I wanted to mention, and let's get into the skill tree. But yeah, we're gonna get into the skill tree. So next, for the skill tree and sort of things before we talk about the rest of the build, short summary of the skill tree. So we're going all the way down to short fuse. Whenever we deal gun damage, there's a chance of a secondary explosion centered on the target. We are dealing gun damage to a ton of enemies all at once because our redistributors are chaining. This procs short fuse all the time on huge groups of enemies. It is really awesome. Whenever we do splash damage, we're gonna get ammo and a smaller chance to return a grenade. This gives us crazy ammo sustain and grenade sustain. Whenever we do splash damage, we're gonna deal incendiary damage. We couldn't do splash damage unless we had short fuse, so this is gonna give us bonus incendiary damage. We're getting grizzled to get all the way down to more grenades. Grenades, once again, don't really need. This isn't a build. Fire Hose Moze, you needed to throw your grenades to stay alive. Your grenades here are not really keeping you alive. They're nice for your shield, but they are going to regen your shield, and your shield is going to be constantly going up and down. So your grenades here are a great source of damage, and you can kind of use whatever you want. Cloning Matting Trackers are a great damage source, so that's why I've been using them. But your grenades are not nearly as important as they were on Fire Hose Moze. This is not a requirement for this build. With that, we're going Pull the Holy Pin and Vampire. Once again, don't need these skills, but they do solid damage, and they're going to help us get down all the way to short fuse here. With that, you can go Grizzled, you can go Explosive Punctuation. I know that Explosive Punctuation is a slightly better skill, but I don't have any problems with Iron Bear use in this. My Iron Bear is always back up. I hop out of my Iron Bear, I blow up a ton of enemies. With Grizzled, get that action skill right back, and that is why we are using Grizzled and not Explosive Punctuation. Next, we're using Vanquisher Rocket Pods. The target softening, they're just going to increase our damage against enemies, which is really nice, and because of that, we grabbed Auto Bear. Next up, these will heal your shields as well, these target softening rockets, but once again, our shields are fine. The Bloodletter class mod is giving us bonuses to Desperate Measures and Phalanx Doctrine. Phalanx Doctrine is going to give us bonus damage. The max shield doesn't really matter here unless you're using the big shield, the level 50 shield. Desperate Measures is great. It's a really awesome skill. We're going to get up to 50% bonus gun damage. Now, this plus 50% gun damage you're not going to be able to use as much as if you were using a Deathless class mod or a Deathless relic, so that's where using Deathless has an edge up. But there are some tricks to abuse that we'll talk about in a second. Lastly, Green Tree, Cloud of Lead. Our shots aren't going to consume ammo. Incendiary damage, more incendiary damage. We're already doing incendiary damage from Skagden, and so that's great. Just more incendiary damage, and we're getting incendiary damage on our gun because of the anointment we're using. Redistribution for ammo regen. Scorching RPMs is awesome here. Bonus critical damage and fire rate. We're spamming out shots as fast as we can. Bonus magazine size, so we never have to reload it. Unlimited ammo is great for the redistributors, but even better for bossing. Now, the redistributors is my go-to gun for mobbing, but for bossing and things like that, I really enjoy using scourges and protuberances. These weapons are a really, really nasty and cool trick that you can use with these things when you're using this setup is you can quickly tap on a Deathless Relic. Once your Deathless Relic is on, go back to your health regen class mod. You are now have full benefits of your Desperate Measures, but you're not. And you have full benefits of your Desperate Measures, and every single shot that you shoot is still going to be amped, which gets crazy. I'll show you guys something here real quick. One thing you will notice when doing this build is pretty much everything just dies that's nearby to other enemies. The redistributors aren't great in against single targets, so that's why we have other weapons for them. But against groups of enemies, you are fine. Once again, a little less tanky than HOZE MOZE, but that's fine because it makes up for it in clear potential and mobbing speed. So against Tyrene, it's definitely easier and better to use the Scourge, but I'll just show you guys the Protuberance kill real quick. Let's put on an It's Piss with bonus radiation damage. Once again, like I said, your grenade anoint doesn't matter because you're not relying on it. You are just have your grenade for DPS, which is really cool to have a MOZE build that doesn't rely on grenades. First phase done. I'm just gonna use the redistributor to hit her crit spot. You can use any gun for that though. Double debuff with the It's Piss, and then my favorite gun to use the Protuberance against is Trant. But it works against Tyrene too, or pretty much any boss you want to kill. So yeah, pretty freaking ridiculous that that we can do this to any boss, to any arena. This works well in. This does do the takedown. It does do Slaughter Shaft. For Slaughter Shaft, I would recommend going the tank route. For the takedown, you don't need to go the tank route. You can use the level 1 rerouter. But for the one-hand fight, it can be difficult not having a snowdrift because you're using a last stand. So for the one-hand fight, I will rock. Sometimes I'll go the deathless route with the rerouter shield. So if you want to do bossing, for example, a Grave Ward, Fire Scourge. Now, for Grave Ward, he's never actually going to hit us, right? So you could put on a Deathless Relic and get full use of it. Grave Ward you can kill real quick without him actually ever hitting you. So, and all of your Scourge shots are going to be amped, which gets ridiculous because all of your shots have 120% damage. Very, very, very simple. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was a little bit of a longer one. I'm trying to have my videos be shorter, my build videos be shorter, but there's just so much to go over and explain. So I apologize about the length of the videos, but I hope you guys learned something new. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm gonna be having some new kind of like non-build videos coming out soon that I've been working really hard on. So keep your eyes out for those. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. The save file for this will be in my Discord as always. Have a good one, guys. Peace.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in